It's okay, just breathe. Just say no. Gavin's on the way. He'll be here soon. This guy can't hurt you. There's too many people here. I'm sorry, sir. I don't think that'd be very appropriate. Then he shook his head and said, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have asked. But the way he looked, the way he said it, was more so like he was upset from the rejection, not the fact he was doing something wrong. Something very wrong. The minute Gavin came up beside me, Teach books it around the corner, gone. It sets in. I have to lean against the wall. I'm laughing from anxiety and being so nervous. The feeling wasn't settled in my stomach anymore. It was festering, and I was panicking. I was trying to explain to Gavin what happened, but Jesus, I couldn't even form a sentence. I felt sick. Was it my fault? I was just being nice, holding conversation any other day. Did I warrant it? No, the fuck I didn't. No one ever does. No matter what you say, do, or damn where. I texted my friend in class what happened. Me and her both freak out. I go home, I tell my mom everything, I break down, I cry. But then the next day is just an EOG day. I'll be in one class. My reading class with my favorite teacher, friends, and boyfriend. I'll only be in that class for just that day. Thursday. Go in, take my test, then we're all chilling. I decide, since it's all over, to laugh at this whole issue. I tell my teacher, who's very chill and relatable, everything so far. She doesn't find it very funny. She proceeds to tell me that it wasn't me she's mad at, nor is it my fault. She told me I needed to speak to one of the office people. Funny, because both a female teacher and a female social worker both worked at my at-the-time job. So I spoke to a social worker in the office about everything. But I also told her that he does indeed know where I work. Because like an idiot, I wanted to defend the food we had there in our past argument. So he knew. He knew where I worked. I asked her if by chance she'd be working that night. She said she didn't work that night, but thankfully the other teacher did. She told me that even with nothing serious happening, like physical contact, that I still needed to write a statement after work. That meant it was serious. I go to work, believing absolutely nothing would happen. I rejected him, so why would he be so stupid enough to show up? I go in, talk to both managers about what happened. Teacher on waitstaff comes in. I tell her too. Everything's a big joke. But I tell them on the very slim chance that he comes in to be on guard. Hour or so later, he's there. He's there, and I explain to him how it works because he tells me he's never been here. I'm sorry, you fucking douchebag. What was that? We had an entire argument over this. I tell him to wait in line, like cafeteria style, and he just stands there. He is married, and he's alone. I tell my manager, who, thank God, walked by at the perfect time. She looks at me like she's ready to fight because we both didn't think he'd show up. My coworker, holy shit, bless her heart, took his order, and he went and sat down. I told her why I was freaking out, bordering on a panic attack. He was in a booth, perfect eye line to the register, that I stood at. He even moved seats to see me better. My other manager, who was pissed, took me to the back of the restaurant to do small things while I texted my mom, friend, and boyfriend everything. After about an hour, we go back up there. Both managers and teacher say to stand at the register, that they would be up there the entire time and that they were going to try baiting him, let him sink himself if he tries talking to me. He didn't, so I went back with the cooks. Everyone in the restaurant was ready for a good old-fashioned outsider's rumble. When I was up the register, though, I put my glasses on to be able to see him in detail far away, and he was staring right at me. He was also weirdly stroking his water glass, don't know what that's about. Before I went back, I asked my coworkers what he ordered. She said just a plate of chicken tenders. I asked her, so no to-go order or anything to take home, for his wife. She said no, and that he's been alone the entire time. Did his wife even know where he was? I don't know. He stayed in that restaurant for over 2 hours, just sitting there, trying to watch me. Later on, my boyfriend called up there at my workplace to check on me, since I stopped answering my cell phone. The phone I answered required me to face away from the front, away from the register. I was talking to my boyfriend. Gavin, he's still here. No, he hasn't tried anything. No, I haven't looked. I don't know where he is. Gavin, he's right at the front. Right at the register, holy shit. Yeah, the minute I turn around, dude was at the register. He knew I worked till closing time, but I don't think he realized I needed to stay and actually close. I think he just thought I got off at 9 o'clock. He was up at the register, typing on his phone, looking at me. I just thought he was going to ask for my number. My manager goes up to him, he asks if he can have some of my time. She says, "I'm sorry, sir, but she's very busy right now. But if you've got her number, I'm sure you can text her when she's not at work." He just said, okay, but also nodded his head in defeat before speed walking out of there. My teacher who worked with me that night called the actual history teacher because he wanted to check on me. He told me he didn't expect anything like this to happen, especially when he was right around. Well, no one ever does, do they? I mean, I didn't even consider myself an attractive enough target for boys my age, let alone an adult who picked me from the crowd. He said he understood if I didn't want to take my test tomorrow, and that afterwards I'd be escorted out of school with an officer for my safety. I just wanted to go ahead and get it over with. Went in, and when he asked to talk to me outside, telling me again how it wasn't my fault, it really hit me that this was all real. That even after speaking up, that I could be in danger. I honestly was about to cry in front of him. I told him why I hesitated on everything, because I didn't want it to somehow backlash onto me if I was wrong, just misinterpreting. He told me even if he didn't show up at my workplace, asking me out like that is wrong. Even if he did go to my workplace, staying for more than 2 hours is over the line just to talk to me. He was right. Took my test, told him I finished and that I was ready to go, so he escorted me up to the office for me to sign my statement without the principal and meet the officer. Principal gave me a hug, said how sorry she was that this all happened to me, especially in their school, and how stupid it was, especially since he's married. Vice principal, who was an old teacher of mine, told me how cool it was to be able to see me again. Then both my history teacher, who promised me I'd get out of there safe, and officer, walked me to my car. He said he made a promise, and that he was going to keep it. That meant a lot to me. So both of them walked me to my car, and were going to make sure that no car pulled out after me to follow me. One of the anxiety-inducing moments that day was how my teacher made me hide around a corner to make sure that the guy wasn't in the office. He wasn't, but I wasn't any less scared. I haven't been scared for my life like that in a long time. On the walk, I just recapped the whole story. Turns out the officer was just told he was escorting me out. He didn't know any of the story. His face was priceless. Very eventful last day of high school. It can really be anyone, you know? Y'all please stay safe out there. I don't want anyone stuck in the same situation I was. Please be aware of everything and everyone around you, especially the fake people that so obviously put up a facade. If you need me for a fight, call me and I'll do my best to be there. Like my friends and boyfriend, who were there for me. And if you want to talk to me about this, then that's completely fine. My DMs and Instagram are always open. I survived, and I want you to survive too.